What's up, guys? Clint Coons here, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my ultimate real estate flip strategy. Now, why do I call it my ultimate strategy? Well, because it's a little complex, but I really like the way it all came together to ensure that when you're flipping property, you get the anonymity that you may be looking for, but at the same time, you minimize the holdback that some states will use when you're selling property with an out-of-state limited liability company. It was something that hit me when I sold a piece of property I owned in Hawaii, and I realized, hey, there's got to be a better way to do this when you're selling real estate so you don't get gouged by the state and then have to apply and ask for your money back, because they take this approach that, hey, we're just going to take as much as we can, and even if we took more than we're entitled to, we'll let the taxpayer get it back, because that ensures that the state gets paid. Now, if you've watched my video on when you can use an out-of-state LLC to own real estate, I touch on that. And in that video, I stated, hey, I'm going to teach you my ultimate strategy. Well, this is it. And I'm going to show you now how it works when it comes to flipping real estate. So let's assume that you've set up a company. You got a corporation here. Here's your corp. And this corporation is in Florida right here. And so it's a C Corp, of course, or it could be an LLC tax as a C corporation. Doesn't really matter. It's just an entity. This is your flip entity. And as you know, we like to flip through entities that are treated as C corporations, so you're not treated as a dealer for tax purposes. So I have this entity here, of which I'm running it and I'm the owner. Now, I'm going to start flipping properties. Now, we know this. You don't want to flip property directly in the name of the corporation. You want to protect yourself. So you're going to create separate LLCs up here for each of your flips, just like this. And those LLCs will be owned by this corporation, 100% ownership down to your corp. And so they're all disregarded for tax purposes, right? They're going to be disregarded for tax purposes. Now the question is, with these flip LLCs that I'm setting up, is where does this LLC originally get filed? So if my Florida corporation here, I was flipping in different states, maybe I'm flipping in Georgia right here, South Carolina right here, and Virginia. Do I create a Georgia LLC, South Carolina, and Virginia LLC? Absolutely, I can do that. But the drawback to setting these up in those various states is that when I create them, everything's going to point back to this corporation. So if I sell a property here out of this Virginia LLC, this buyer that purchases the property, they feel like they overpaid because the market's gone down now. They find some issues that are wrong with the property that their inspector missed on their inspection. Now they want to shake you down for money. All they got to do is say, all right, who owned this LLC? It was owned by this corp or this company in Florida. We go look up who's in charge of that. We see you right here. Skip trace you, find out where you live. Start dropping nasty grams on you, beating you up on social media, making your life a living hell. I don't want to see that happen. So you then decide, hey, I got to get some protection here. How do I provide some anonymity so people don't know that I'm involved with this? Well, one way I've showed you before is you could just take this out right here and not have your corp own these LLCs directly. Instead, put in a Wyoming LLC right here. And so then have the Wyoming LLC owned by your corp, and all of these LLCs point to Wyoming. They don't see you because the Wyoming LLC is that blocker entity right there in the middle. Corp owns Wyoming LLC. Wyoming LLC owns Georgia, South Carolina, and Virginia. So that's one way to do it, just like that. But another way is, instead of using the blocker, if you didn't want to do that, just set up all of these in Wyoming. Don't set them up in that state. Set them all up in Wyoming. And have the Wyoming LLC own those particular pieces of property. Now, in doing that, as I talked about in that other video, there could be a situation where the state's going to hold back money for taxes to make sure that they get paid. So when you go into closing out of escrow, after all the liens get paid off, they figure out what's left in the profits. And if you owe the state has a holdback of, let's say, 10 grand, and you have $12,000 in profit on your deal, they're holding back 10 of your 12. So you only get 2 in your pocket. So the question becomes, how do I fix that? So I'm not having all of my money held back on the sale of these properties. And I'm still using Wyoming for anonymity purposes. Well, what I came up with is a strategy where I will create a separate Wyoming LLC over here. So I'll create this Wyoming LLC that's owned 100% by my corporation, like this. Now, I enter into an agreement with my corporation that this Wyoming LLC is entitled to basically 95% of the profits on any deal that it is involved with. And the way I'm able to do this is I have the LLC agree to finance all of these deals. So that's, the cash you put into your deals. I know some of you may be using an HML here and there to fund these, or private money deals to get them to come together. But you've got some skin in the game. This is my skin in the game entity right here on behalf of my corp. All just happens to be owned 100% by my corporation. So it has an agreement with my corporation that it's going to loan it the money to do these deals, but in exchange for that loan, it wants 95% of the profits and 0% interest or something like that. Or another way you can do it is that each time a property is sold, it's going to collect all the proceeds off to 95% to pay off what's outstanding under that amount of money you've loaned. So you set this agreement up in place, and then once you have that agreement in place, when you buy these properties here, you have this entity file a memorandum of interest. Okay? That's one document you can file. And so what does that mean? You record this memorandum of interest this LLC has in the property. So it puts people on notice. It shows up on title that, hey, we've got a first position lender here. We've got Frank, private money lender. He's in there in a first position. But there's this other person out there, entity, claiming an interest in the property. It's recorded against the property. So title, when you go to sell, they have to check that off to pass clear title. Anybody that professes to have an interest in this piece of property, they got to clear all that out. Okay, so they go to Frank. Frank, you have an interest in the property. It shows that you loan money. You got a first deed of trust. How much is owed? Frank tells them, I'm owed $90K. So they say, great, Frank, you'll get $90,000 out of escrow. That's going to get paid to you. Then they come over here to the Wyoming LLC. And if you're going to do this, have a separate email set up for the Wyoming LLC, a separate Google number, okay? Just give it, you don't want to use your own information that you're using down here, okay? You're going to use a separate deal here. Then what you'll do is when they contact you, they reach out to you, they want to know, what is this memorandum of interest? You're going to tell them, hey, the memorandum of interest is that I hold X amount of this deal here, the profits in this deal, and it amounts to, let's say the profit in this deal happens to be $20K. You would say, hey, I'm owed $18,000. Well, what is title going to do? They're going to check with you, your company, and they say, hey, there's this company claiming that they're owed $18,000 out of the sale. You say, yes, it is. It's true. They're owed 18 grand. So then when you close, 18 grand is going to come over here. So if I sold this property now for $110,000, that was my sale price, total sale price there. 90K goes back to Frank. 18,000 goes over here to the Wyoming LLC. 2,000 is going to go to this company right here. Now, if the state impounds, let's say 5% of the gross value of the sale. You see, if I didn't do this, then I would have had 5% of $110,000 impounded, or $5,500. Well, now what's going to happen, they're still going to impound money, but they don't get to impound $5,500. They're only going to impound $2K because that's all I had. And the whole purpose of that is to ensure that the state gets their fair share in taxes. Now, this isn't a mechanism to avoid paying taxes, all right? So you don't think, oh, I'm going to be able to skip paying state taxes if I follow Clint's strategy. No, what it's doing is put more money back in your pocket. And you got to have a legit agreement here that, you've loaned this company money to get a interest in these various assets, and you get paid off first. All that has to be documented. But then at the end of the day, you will pay taxes that is owed. You got to still pay those taxes. It's just a way to keep more of your cash coming back to you so you can keep funding your other deals. Because if you're doing too many of these deals, right, too many of them close at once, and all that cash gets sucked up because you're looking for an anonymity structure, then it could be a problem. So this is what I call my ultimate real estate flipping strategy for anonymity, where you use this side company over here to file memorandum of interest against these properties to help funnel the funds back out. And from a tax standpoint for federal, what happens is income comes here. This is owned 100% by the corp, so all the income's taxed down here, just like it would have been if it ran the other way. We're just using that third party over there. Hey, this is what I like about business entities and planning for real estate investing. There's always creative ways to look at a deal. And so the same way with putting your deal together, this is what comes when you're using business entities. As I've told you many times, entities can help you do more if you just figure out a way to put them together to allow you to do it. If you like this video, give me the like button. If you got any questions on it, be sure to throw those questions down there as well. I know it's going to spur some. And all the best with your investing. Take care.